All righty, I want to call this meeting to the order of the Town of Weddington regular planning board meeting for Tuesday, May the 26th of 2026. We'll move to a determination of a quorum. We have a full house, so we have met that. Read the conflict of interest statement. In accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every board member to avoid conflicts of interest. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest with respect to any matters on the agenda? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any participation in the matter involved.
I definitely don't have a conflict of interest, and I haven't at any of the meetings we've had.
Awesome. Steve?
No conflict. None.
None. Nope.
None. All righty, moving forward. Approval of the minutes for April the 27th, 2026 regular planning board meeting. Do we get an approval?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll let Karen decide who was first at the second.
Does it need
I
it?
tried to get
It was
this one in
unanimous.
there, Scott.
If they do it again, I'll give it to Scott.
All right, do we have public comments? Perfect, we have public comments.
With attendance.
Oh. We got a decent attendance as well.
Yes, I did. I should be on the comments.
No, we need to sign both.
That's me. I didn't know if we were-
No, you just needed, well, you should have signed both, one for attendance to say you're present, and the other one if you wanted to speak. But I think you're on the one you wanted to be on. So we'll leave that one up front. All right, for public comments, individuals are allowed 3 minutes to speak and must only comment on current agenda items. A maximum of 30 minutes is allocated to the public comment period. The time limit may be extended at the discretion of the chairman. All right, with that said, we are going to start with Mr. Steve Holmes.
Yeah. Is this okay? We get it? We're good?
Perfect.
Okay, good. 160 Amanda Drive, Steve Holmes. Thanks for the opportunity. And for some of you, I think this may be redundant. Some of it may be just a clarity on the perspective we have, just so that you understand our point of view as well as we can convey that to you. First, and a lot of people come in and complain about what they don't like. We all respect the volunteering and the time that you guys give to this. We do. But certainly there are things that not everybody agrees with all the time. So we do have some expectations from your team. And the first and foremost is to make decisions that protect the safety and welfare of our residents as a priority. To protect the character and the integrity of our community. We've been there for over 40 years, and there's lots of communities around town. I think most of you live in them that have that kind of vintage. You've been around for a long time. The integrity of the community, we hope that you make decisions to protect that too. And what we don't want you folks to do is to compromise our safety for what we consider the perceived benefit of others. I'll explain that in a moment. Just for some background context, and you, again, probably you are very familiar with this. Our road is at best 18 feet wide. It started as a gravel road. It's 43 years old. NCDOT told us flatly that it had a confirmed life expectancy of 25 years. And we're 43 years into it. So it's meandered over time. The substrate has degraded terribly. We have paid 40 years of taxes collectively. Many people came there originally and stayed. That's a lifetime of taxes. And what have we gotten from NCDOT in that lifetime of taxes? Nothing. And I mean zero. Our roads have serious substrate deficiencies. We have sections that are less than 18 feet wide. If a pickup truck and another pickup truck happen to be coming at each other, one's taking a ditch to let the other one by. And what we got from them was the asphalt surface treatment, the chips and fog seal, as kind of a cheap out to disguise the problems. That's what we've gotten for our 40 years of taxes from those folks. Yes, sir. So the other side of the house is you folks, the planning board. So what have we experienced? What have we gotten from the planning board over this period of time? Both past and present planning boards, this is the third attempt, to force cut-through traffic onto Amanda Drive and Kerry Lane in less than the past 8 years. It was a big, well, I don't have time here to go into it. I'll be glad to answer anybody's questions.
Please wrap it up and you're good.
Big issue when the roundabout went in by the charter school, big issue with Vintage Creek. We had to come in and defend our positions. Town ended up doing another TIA, and I can't go into it now because I don't have time, but this is the third time, okay? We've asked over time for evidence of actual harm to other communities for this policy, and we've never been provided any compelling public safety evidence other than the perception of harm. So, hadn't been provided to us. And we unfortunately feel like you guys demonstrate a profound concern for other communities' safety without a reciprocal concern for ours. And I hate to stand here and say that, but it's just the way it feels after three runs at us in less than 8 years. Morris Farms, by the definition of safety for them, is a divided 20-foot entrance road plus a 100-foot thoroughfare buffer along Weddington Matthews Road. That's to support 32 houses. Amanda Drive is 18 feet wide at best, the dead intersection into Weddington Matthews Road that already supports 50 plus houses. So if your definition for Morris Farms and 32 houses is a 24 foot wide divided highway with a 100-foot thoroughfare buffer, we don't have any of that. We're already supporting 150% of the houses on our Amanda Drive. And if you burden more houses in there, it just exasperates the situation.
Let's get this one wrapped up. I hear you.
Kerry Lane is a right turn only, and delays already on peak times. And it's been made worse with the 485 out by Siskiyou. More people cutting through there. And I'm interested in your definition of UDO Section K, Item 4. That states,
Yeah.
residential collectors and local streets shall be laid out in such a way that their use by through traffic will be discouraged.
All right. On that one, I appreciate it, Steve. I imagine we're going to get more from the other neighbors as well.
Yeah, I need about 6 more seconds.
Get you 6 seconds. Let's go.
All right. Toll Brothers have demonstrated tremendous good faith and support of our community's safety concerns. And it's not going to be matched by any other developer. They have stepped up and been very responsive to us. And we know that there's talk on the table for concessions that they're willing to make. The roads go private, they do a bench straight, and we approach a permanent emergency only vehicle as a solution for no cut through traffic.
Awesome.
We hope that you folks will rapidly approve that for those people. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. All right, Mr. Bailey.
Yeah, and I'm Richard Bailey. I live at 135 Kerry Lane. Have done so for about 42 years. I just have a very few comments. Speaking about Kerry Lane and Arbor Oaks, we've gone on record that we do not want the cut through to Bonner Drive, which would adversely affect us, Kerry Lane and Amanda Drive. The fire marshal has gone on record in writing that the extension is not necessary and that it should meet certain criteria that they outline in that meeting with Toll Brothers. NCDOT states that a connecting road is not necessary unless the development is over 100 households. The engineering firm that did the TIA or traffic impact study on the Toll Brothers application recommends following national fire safety standards, which is greater than 126 houses per development. Our planning board has recommended any development greater than 15 houses must have 2 entrances, which drives up cost to the builders, the increased cost to the homeowner, probably shuts down small home development and drives away or drives the cost up for all individuals, and we lose tax revenue if they decide not to build because of stringent constraints. I now ask the planning board to take this into consideration and please let us hear our voice to oppose this recommendation. I ask the mayor and town council to vote against this requirement from the planning board. That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. All right, next we have Kurt.
Hi, my name is Kurt Voorhees. I'm a longtime resident of Bonner Drive in the neighborhood of Arbor Oaks. Bonner Drive and the adjoining streets of Amanda Drive and Cary Lane are very narrow. These are not curb and gutter streets. We have no sidewalks. When we go to the community mailbox in our cul-de-sac, we walk on the street. Visit neighbors, we walk on the street. When we take our dogs out, we walk on the street. When the kids go from house to house playing, they ride, they bike, they walk on the street. Turning our cul-de-sac street into a cut-through compromises our safety and well-being, among other things. Now, we've learned a lot in this process, and it seems like the UDO that governs this Bonner Drive cut-through was provided to Toll Brothers at the inception of this project and established as a requirement by the town of Weddington. Among other things, the UDO requires a second entrance into neighborhoods of more than 15 homes. NCDOT, the National Fire Code, has similar requirements, but they only apply theirs to neighborhoods of more than 100 homes. 15 versus 100. Now, as a longtime Weddington resident, I can get behind tightening some development restrictions for the betterment of the community. I really can. But 7 times as restrictive, that seems incredibly excessive and beyond what is reasonable. As long as the town of Weddington forces conformance to this ill-conceived UDO, we will be fighting this Bonner Drive cut-through battle, no matter the developer. Take Toll Brothers out, put another one in, we're back here a year fighting the same battle. Now, Toll Brothers, in particular Margaret, has engaged in direct, open, honest conversation with us to formulate a solution given the rigid, unyielding requirements by the town of Weddington. And just to be clear, Toll Brothers never wanted the cut through. Obviously, the residents never wanted the cut through. This cut through is being mandated by our town. Our town. Granting a variance or an exception to this UDO always has been our preferred solution to prevent the cut through. No doubt about it. That said, we believe the proposed permanent, and I underscore, emphasize, put it in bold, put it in italics, permanent emergency access only gate seems to be a reasonable compromise. And that gate will be on Bonner Drive, obviously, between Arbor Oaks and the now private gated community of Morris Farm. And those are all key, very, very key items on that. Private gated Morris Farm and a permanent emergency only access gate. I think it accomplishes what we're looking for, which is to eliminate in its entirety residential and commercial traffic on Bonner Drive. So for this reason, we support Toll Brothers Morris Farm Development.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thank you.
Kurt. All right, we got one speaker left. Christopher Neve.
When Toll Brothers first presented this, I think it was just a month after their last project was denied, I was curious to see how the residents would respond to them coming back with another proposal for Weddington. And I discovered that residents were actually very welcoming to this idea, who would be most greatly impacted by this development. They had one simple request that was even brought up as early as the community meeting, which was roughly a year ago, and voiced this concern that they just didn't want to have the cut through to Bonner Drive. As a resident who lives on a very similar length cul-de-sac, I can say I can put myself in their shoes, and I would not want additional traffic on my street, especially those with kids. And so they had that one simple request. There are many other developments in Weddington, not developments that were developed a long time ago, but more recent ones, one being Beckingham subdivision off of Lockhaven Drive that has 38 homes and only one entry point. This added to the already roughly 100 homes that are already back there off of Lockhaven, and never once did that project get held up because there was not a second access point. From what I've been told, Toll Brothers has been very accommodating and wanting to work around this and not connect to Bonner. So there seems to be a lack of consistency in a lot of areas if this were to be forced, that the connection were to be made. Now, I do know that it's being recommended that there be a gate there with a reassurance that it will never be removed. I think the real test is, if it's never going to be removed, then why connect at all? Especially if the main entry point is wide enough that emergency vehicles can get there. I think, and I am very sensitive to safety concerns. I've been a first responder for 10 years now, and I can honestly say there is a much greater risk to kids playing on the streets of Bonner Drive, that portion of Amanda Drive, Carey Lane, through the years with the additional cut through traffic, than concerns with emergency vehicles being able to get to the homes of Morris Farm. I can also, it would also be used as a cut through, because we know of the traffic concerns. When the international fire codes were made, those are good recommendations, and we appreciate the spirit of why those came into play, and we can all agree with them. But they didn't have Bonner Road and Drive. They didn't have in mind. They didn't have Weddington in mind in this specific scenario when they came up with that suggested recommendation. And so we know the details. We know there's a traffic circle up there. We know Carey Lane runs parallel to Weddington Matthews Road up at Tilly Morris, where the roundabout is. That traffic gets congested there. We can we know the details there, and we know that there will be extra cut through traffic there. And so I would like to see, and also the tree ordinance, trees would have to be removed. That's a new ordinance that our council is very proud of. I believe it's a good ordinance to have in place. There'd be a heritage tree that would have to be removed, at least one, as well as additional trees too. So please take all those things into consideration when you look at this. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. All right, that wraps our public comment portion. Thank you for residents coming out to speak. We will move to our old business now. Discussion and possible recommendation of an application by Toll Brothers requesting conditional zoning approval for the development of a 39-lot conventional subdivision located on Weddington Matthews Road, parcel number 061200011. Does staff want to say anything, or do we want to roll with it?
I think we can roll.
All right. So I want to start by saying too that we did receive some emails of one resident. I thought he was coming to speak as well today from Chad. I tried to pass along for everybody to review. And with his emails and some of his stuff, I do want to say that we need to make sure we keep it important that we distinguish between this is a schematic level plan and not a final construction documents that we're trying to work through. I know he had referenced Luna and that one of the ponds was missing from the CZ, and I think that's just an example of what we were trying to do. We accurately wanted depiction, and where these things don't get missed when it actually goes to CD. I think this one checked the boxes. It went through. We had Bob Wilson from Labella look after it. He had some conflicts, as we kind of did before it went to council. I think Toll did a great job working with Bob to address everything from that end. They requested themselves to come back and come through this process to do it right. So I'm going to attest that that's a good move. So now here we are. With that said, I think Toll wants to do a little presentation. Is that correct? I think let's let you work your magic and then we'll all open up for discussion.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Margaret Puckett. I'm the VP of Acquisition for Toll Brothers. I've had the opportunity to speak in front of some of you, but not all, at our February Planning Board meeting. Out of that meeting, there were a handful of questions. Candidly, like Chris had mentioned, we had some loose items that needed to be taken care of. We've spent the last 3 months doing that. Bonner Drive, you heard a lot of the residents talk about that connection point. I'm going to discuss that tonight. Private roads, there was discussion prior of slivers of private road. Would NCDOT maintain that? We've also taken care of that issue with going to a suggested private community altogether, so that issue would go away. There were a lot of stormwater questions regarding our DEQ response. HydroCAD came up quite a bit. I think there were a lot of technical questions. And like you just mentioned, Chris, we've spent a lot of time going back and forth with Labella, making sure that those answers are addressed with our engineer. And I believe the package that you have today has all of those concerns addressed. There were questions about our landscaping plan, the buffers, and we've included all of that information. I'll go through that as I go through my presentation tonight. There's a lot more clarity there. Entrance monuments, there were 2. Everybody was like, well, which one are you doing? We've got the correct one in the packet this time, and I'm happy to go through that. Tree survey, heritage trees. There was a lot of discussion specifically about, is that tree a heritage tree? Is this one a heritage tree? Which one? So we got that in the presentation tonight as well. And then we also were able to get in contact with Union County. We have that school capacity letter. So there were outstanding items, but those were those items. If you go to the next slide for me, I actually typed all those things out on this slide. But it's taken us a little bit of time, but I'm glad that we came back after that time period, because really we've been focusing quite a bit on the neighbors at Bonner Drive. You've heard from 4 of them tonight. I've had candid conversations with all of them, and I think that the solution that we've come up with is a very good compromise for the neighbors, although it wasn't their preferred option. It is something that I think does meet the needs of the UDO, and it helps the neighbors with their major concern. If you go to the next slide for me, I'm going to just go through this presentation like I did back in February. For those that were not here, I'll try to be brief. But this is the Morris, what I refer to as the Morris property. It's 94 acres on Weddington Matthews Road. It actually anchors both the east and the west side of Weddington Matthews. If you go to the next slide for me. A lot of changes have been going on this project. Actually, we've been working on this coming up on 2 years. We had our community meeting in June of last year, big crowd at the Weddington pool complex, but we've made a lot of changes to our plan. Specifically, the reduction in unit count or home site count went from 47 to 39. We do meet a lot of the requirements, or all of the requirements, regarding the new UDO that was moving as we were navigating through this as well. But that before and after really does give you an indication of all of the changes that we've made on this plan. The next slide actually shows a bigger version of that site plan. I think the biggest change that you'll see on this plan shows an entrance marker that actually has our gates. So this community, after discussion with the Bonner Drive residents, after discussion with planning, Mayor Bell was involved as well, suggested that a way to work around this situation would be to go private streets, have the community be gated, so that we will alleviate the concern of cut through traffic. If you go to the next slide for me, this was all of the things that we wanted to highlight that we've been spending the last 1.5 to 2 years working with Weddington on. That Bonner Drive, and I will go into more detail, I have it in the slide deck, but that Bonner Drive connection point was a very sticky pain point. So we've suggested going private, having gated community We have enhanced architecture, which was very important to Mayor Bell. And then Appendix 2B. So we have heritage trees, septic permits. We've accommodated a block length. We've increased buffers, enhanced our berm and landscaping, which I'll show you in a moment. And we've also gone back and forth quite a bit on stormwater updates. Those DEQ updates that we were not able to meet the first time around, we've changed those. And we've also worked with Labella on all of the HydroCAD counts. If you go to the next slide for me, this is what we're proposing for that actual gated concept. So you'll see those barrier islands in between. The gate is kind of hard to see, but if you would look straight back, that is actually going to be a gate similar to a lot of communities in Weddington, where it will sit back, allowing for turnaround if you don't pull into the right neighborhood and you're like, oh, I got to go back. We have that accessibility and access, but these are gated and would be shut at all times. The only resident or the people that would have access to get into the community are our residents. We have done this multiple different ways. Sometimes it's a key fob, sometimes it's just a gate button that you would hook up to your car, but it is private, and that would allow our residents to have a gated community, and it would allow us to gate at Bonner, which would keep our residents in our community, no cut through traffic. In the instance of an emergency, which is why we're here having this discussion, those gates would be able to be opened by emergency access vehicles as well. If you go to the next slide for me, this is, actually I was out on Bonner Drive today. I took this picture, I stood in the woods. So this is a concept of what we would propose for a gate in the community. So this would be fire access only, emergency access only. It would remain shut, but it would look good. We don't want this to be something that, gets blown over with the wind. We want this to be a substantial gate that will serve a purpose, which is privacy for our community, but also safety for the Bonner Drive residents. If you go to the next slide, this is an overview of what that cul-de-sac looks like today. Not today, it's a little sunnier in that picture, but cul-de-sac, and you can see where that proposed cut or connectivity would be. We would essentially be building a road on our property, and that gate would sit on our property line. We would be, Toll Brothers, maintaining that gate, taking care of that gate. It is at no means an obligation to the Arbor Oaks residents. This is a Toll Brothers obligation, and I want to note that we have committed to the Arbor Oaks residents that no cut-through construction traffic will be using their roads. We will put this gate up as soon as our roads are paved. We will put this gate up to where no construction traffic will be flowing through the community, as that was a major request of the residents. If you go to the next slide for me, highlighting these two concepts together, we've got our gated front entrance on both sides of Weddington Matthews, in addition to that gate that would be that connection point to Bonner. Shown very small red arrow, but you can see that there on this slide. Again, the private streets really do incentivize Toll Brothers, which this gate will be on our side. It incentivizes our residents who will be taking care of this community in the future HOA to not remove that gate. Why would they? If the streets are private, they're going to be maintaining these streets within their own community. There's really no reason that the gate would ever come down or be a concern in the future. I know that's been discussed with various residents in the community. Gates are coming down. I don't want that. This allows this to be secured for the future because the community, Morris Farm, would be maintaining it and taking care of it. If you go to the next slide for me, these are just some additional concepts that we actually shared during our first meeting. The bottom right-hand corner shows that turn lane that we're going to be installing along Weddington Matthews, which will ease traffic going into our community on the left-hand side. And then you can see just some of the streetscape concepts that we've put together thus far. You go to the next slide. Again, some of this entrance monumentation with our gated community concept. We are very excited about this community, and we recognize fully that our past has not been what Weddington wants in the future. And we recognize that, and we have done a lot of work to enhance and make our project better so that it fits the needs of the demands and of the town of Weddington. So if you go to the next slide, this is our heritage tree exhibit. So you can see on this exhibit, the green area actually shows individual heritage trees that are remaining on the site. This very difficult to see, but there are some red dots on this map that are heritage trees that would be removed. The existing tree canopy is 12.8 acres, which is 14% of the site. Toll Brothers is actively saving 53%, over half of the existing canopy. The town ordinance currently only requires us to save 10%. So significant tree save on this property. And there are 143 total trees on the site, and we're removing 18 heritage trees. So very minimal, although it's not great. We are taking trees down. The site is relatively flat and farmland as it is today. So we've really done our best effort to avoid taking down trees that we don't need to. As people mentioned, with that gate on Bonner, there are 2 trees there that would need to come down to get that gate installed or that road installed in the future. If you go to the next slide for me. This shows our enhanced landscaping plan. We wanted to make sure that this got called out in color so that everyone in this room can see the green on this site plan. The green shade is extra planting that we're going to be installing. The area that's darker gray, and I know it's kind of hard to see on this plan, those trees are already there. So those trees will remain. We're not touching them. The area in green, again, is where we will be replanting and enhancing the existing area that does not necessarily have trees, or where we took trees out. We are going to be putting those trees in. If you go to the next slide for me, this is our septic exhibit that shows where those septic fields will be on the site. These are all designed for 5-bedroom systems. And again, if there's any specific questions, my counterpart, Robert Price, can better answer them. But this has not necessarily changed drastically from our last presentation that we did in February. And if you go to the last slide, well, not the last slide, but the last part of this presentation, enhanced architecture. So we have spent a lot of time over the last year on designing homes and bringing up the quality of the homes that we're building in Weddington. For example, all of the homes that we're proposing are crawl space. They're individually cleared home sites, so we're not mass grading anything. We have 4-sided architecture, meaning 4 sides brick. We have new elevation designs that we're bringing in all of these homes. Our 3 and 4 car garages, they're all side loaded. So there will be no homes that you would see the front of the garage from the streetscape. If you go to the next couple of slides, and you can kind of go through these relatively quickly, but we've got a handful of floor plans, front, rear, sides, that you can see from an elevation standpoint. A lot of these homes, again, are 4-car garage. So the garage that you do see in this picture will sit back further. And you can see on some of these plans, I've got the footage of the homes listed. The smallest plan, I believe, is about 4,500 square feet, ranging all the way up. These homes go to almost 6,200 square feet. So you've got a large range of square footage, 4 sides brick. This home in particular is a courtyard plan. It has 2 separate garages for a total of 4 bays. This home is over 5,100 square feet. Keep going for me. Just a couple more. That is all I have. And I'm happy to stay up here and answer specific questions as they come out of this discussion. Robert is here as well. We also have our engineering team here as well to answer any specific questions. But I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to come back multiple times to hopefully get this right. We have been engaging with these neighbors on Bonner Drive, and we want to do the right thing. We want to be good neighbors in every community that I've ever built, and I've been in home building for a long time now. My goal is to leave it better than we find it. I want to make sure that these neighbors across, right directly next to us, everywhere, that they're not impacted in a negative way, because that is absolutely not our goal. We want to be good neighbors. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. While she's standing, does anyone have questions for her, or do we want to open discussion?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. Define cut-through traffic.
Cut through traffic to me would be parallel roads. You have two different routes. Cut through means to me you're going to go one way to avoid a situation on another road. So a lot of the neighbors on Bonner Drive, before we proposed a gate, viewed, hey, Weddington Matthews is backed up. Hey, there's a accident. Hey, there's,
That answered my question.
yep,
Cut through
Cut
drive
th-
would be people coming down Weddington Matthews Road. Instead of going down to the roundabout, they're gonna cut through.
there is a
Yes.
belief, and I've seen it
Yeah.
in certain circumstances where people will try to go the faster route.
Yeah, I just
And the
wanna make
concern
sure I
is they go down
understood that
Bonner and
correctly.
cause,
And then my second question was, you referred to the gate between Bonner, Oaks, and the subdivision as an emergency access gate.
it would only be an emergency access gate. We, on the Toll Brothers side of Bonner Drive, would not open that gate for our residents. It would be a private gate only to be opened for emergency access.
So if I live in Morris Farms and I'm gonna go up and get on the interstate to head up north, I can't exit through that gate?
That's correct. You cannot. We would only be using the one access point on Weddington Matthews Road unless it was an emergency situation only to be used by a first responder or fire, police of that nature.
'Cause I
And that
know-
was our compromise and our solution. Going private streets, we would allow just that one access point, but we would not allow our residents to be able to exit out of Bonner Drive either.
Because as I read through the TIA, let me rephrase, the TIA is 266 pages, so I did not read through it. Bob Wilson, our engineer, does. And the two recommendations that came out of that, foot left turn lane, which is there, and a Bonner Drive connection. And this is a delicate subject, because if I lived in Bonner Oaks, I wouldn't be coming through my street either, you know? But at the same time, we try to get connectivity within the town. The fact that our engineer was saying, hey, 100-foot turn lane, connectivity to Bonner Drive, I'm comfortable with the gates that you go in, and that's what I asked what cut through was. I just have some concern on emergency access. Those are the only two questions I have,
Okay.
but thank you.
I'm gonna elaborate a little bit to Bill's point. So I did email Bob about this change to get his reference, and see if he had could flush out any concerns from our town engineer. His response was, the only concern about private versus public roads is the increased maintenance cost to the HOA. However, we understand the residents of Bonner Drive do not want their street connected to Morris Farm, and this would be required for the public street option. So by them going private, they are now in control of, they still make the connection, but it's private, it's theirs. They can gate it. We can't say anything. And then they've, by default, hit the essence of our two entrance, two connection spirit. So I do think that this works for toll, residents, town as a way, because I would say that going private is a costly endeavor for toll to attach. I know we might not understand that, but that's
It's a costly endeavor
That's-
for the residents of Morris Farms.
a
I mean, I live in a gated community, believe me.
yeah,
I
in the
know.
long run, but it's also they could turn the roads over to NCDOT when they're done, and
It is definitely more costly for
Yes,
Toll
it's
Brothers
a-
to go
it's a-
private. We have to subsidize at a much higher level to get the neighborhood HOA stabilized. We have to install the gates. There's a lot more to a private community than there is public. And our preference in normal circumstances, when we have a perfect community that doesn't have neighbors, which doesn't happen very often, it would be public because we turn it over, the state would maintain.
I think when you're saying stabilize the neighborhood, you're talking about as it's turned over to an HOA, they're going to have dues. You're going to be gradually building up that fund until eventually it's taken over by the HOA. So when I said it's more expensive, I meant from the standpoint of the dues that those residents.
It
will
will
pay
be
for
more
their
expensive for
HOA.
the dues of the residents. It is more costly for Toll Brothers to, when I say stabilize, we maintain the HOA and we're the declarant of the HOA until the community is almost built out
Right.
and we don't turn it over. So I'm responsible for those roads during that time when the traffic is the worst because I have construction traffic. I have trucks tearing up the roads. Ask Robert, he's really good at messing up my pretty roads. That is the most expensive part of it. So it is absolutely a burden on Toll. But we hear our neighbors in this community loud and clear that they do not want that connectivity. And the only solution that we can be in the middle of is providing those private streets.
And I understand totally. And again, I'm walking on eggshells here because last time I said you guys had a pretty good presentation. I got beat up and bruised pretty badly. But we're basically saying, people on Bonner Oaks are going to hate me for this. We've got, how many homes are there? 8, 11, 10? So we got 10 homes. They're going to dictate our policy on connectivity and other issues. I'll play devil's advocate. Make Bonner Drive private. You put a gate at both ends. Now that's going to be ridiculous.
Amanda Drive and Kerry Lane.
Yeah, let's gotcha. Appreciate it, Steve.
Okay, yeah, I
So,
tried
so
to
again,
I tried to press it. I know this is going to create
Yeah.
a lot of, but I'm just trying to get discussion on this. So that's all I've got to say. I'm
yeah,
done.
I think from sitting here, they meet the standpoint of the UDO with 2 entrances. Commend them for working with the neighbors in Weddington to find a solution, and then still create the second entrance with the gate that has no access, no through traffic, that protects Bonner, Amanda, and Cary Drive. Is there any more questions for Margaret or Toll while we're sitting here before we kind of
Looks like we got one right next to you.
Just a quick
Oh.
one,
go
if
ahead?
you don't mind. So regarding assurances for the people existing on Bonner today, will that be ran into a bylaw for the HOA? Meaning like it's permanence, they know it won't disappear, it's founded and the bylaws of the HOA?
I can't do that on the Arbor Oaks HOA because I'm not
Right,
involved
for
in it.
yours.
However, what I can control is on my side.
Right.
On Toll Brothers, declarants, HOA, we absolutely will have to put in, these are private streets. The gate is installed. We can weave language into our CCNRs that indicate that these streets are going to be maintained by our HOA, and we will. So that security alone gives us a lot of confidence that the neighbors, just think logically here for 1 second, as we have 39 homes in this community, there's a gate they buy into. I'm going to live in a gated community in Weddington. I'm responsible with the purchase of this home to maintain my streets. I am not going to want to take down any sort of gate that protects those streets because we know that streets require maintenance over time that those residents are going to be on the hook for. They have to maintain them. So there's really no justification for those gates to be removed in the future because those residents are going to be the ones that are maintaining it.
But, and maybe I misunderstood your question. If 10 years from now, that's built out and people are living in there, will there be something in the covenants that said that gate cannot be removed?
We can weave language into our CCNRs in our covenants that indicate that that gate cannot be removed.
Okay,
Yes,
so I think
we
you're going to
can.
have that.
Well, my point was more for emergency purposes only. If they've got a key to the castle, they can buzz right through if it's a gated community still. But again, if they have access, it's not emergency only, which was the intent.
A resident
That's
couldn't
all.
use their key fob.
Yep, Bonner
exit.
is not going to be a connection point for the residents. They will not be able to use that gate. We will wire it that way. That is not an access point for our residents. Sorry to be confusing. The front access gate will be, they have in and out access. Emergency access vehicles will be able to get into both should they need to in an emergency situation.
Yeah, I just wanted to safeguard for the future that doesn't change the intent. It's emergency only access. It doesn't change in a year or two. For-
Our
Sure.
intent will not change.
The only question that I had was that with the private roads, for our UDO, you realize this section G that they have to be built to NCDOT standards, they'll be inspected. like you said, when you have this emergency access gate, you'll have to provide the emergency services with access, either numbers or fobs or whatever it is.
Yes.
I know you mentioned that.
Yes.
But, I know the roads are going to get beat up a little bit when the construction is ongoing. It's going to have to be brought up to standard at the end when you want to leave the community. And we'll do those, the town will provide, the town engineer will potentially go over there and inspect those roads. So,
I want to address that with specific languages. So,
okay, so it's in our UDO, it's section G for private roads. I just want to make sure you understand that commitment that you're making to provide everything it says in the UDO.
Yes, we understand.
And I would also like to say that I appreciate the effort that you guys have put in to work with the community. Really, hopefully this works out. But for you guys to talk to them, which it sounds like you have, I appreciate that on behalf of the town, because it takes an effort to do that. And I know Toll is trying to improve its standing, and this can go a long way. So I just, personally for me, I appreciate that.
So just, again, a small thing, and maybe the ambulance, the deputy, the fire truck comes out and it blurts out a yelp, and that gate opens.
It's called a squawk box.
So,
It's called a squawk box.
okay, in my neighborhood, we call it a yelp, but that's just the point I wanted to make.
Okay, we can look into understanding what that technology looks like. If it's out there, I'm sure we can figure it out and make that
Yeah,
happen.
it's been in my neighborhood for 20 years. It's-
Yes, so that should not be an issue.
Question?
this more gets more toward the comment, civil engineer. Okay. So, yeah, you would. So, you've already got one of the sections out of the Weddington roadway standard that's shown on your plan.
Cross-section of road, you mean?
Yeah, cross-section. And so I want to be sure that this is protecting the future Weddington residents here, because I'd like to see verbiage in your paving that specifically addresses NCDOT 610.
Yes. Yeah, we can
Saying
provide.
too many things are going on right now. Too many times I've seen these guys paving out of spec, and at the end of the day, it comes down to, we put it in there and it was middle of January, put the surface course in the middle of January and it was foggy and 34 degrees.
Right.
No.
Understand?
Because at this point in time, we're going to tighten that up, and this, if you put it in right the first time, then those residents are going to have a longer life out of those streets and less impact on them. And it says it's supposed to be constructed per the NCDOT standards, and that is an NCDOT standard.
Right. So essentially for us, we'll provide NCDOT standard.
I
Paving.
provide something,
Yeah,
provide
on
an
the plan.
outline, because again,
Yep.
you guys are you're gonna have to come back and certify that you approve the proof roll for that.
Yep.
And also that, if you don't, then we're back into destructive testing and that sort of thing. We don't have to get into that.
Yes, sir. Yep.
But also, I know the guys in the field came out of, just retired after 50 years of the construction industry. I know how guys in the field are.
Yep.
You're gonna have to give them a 1, 2, 3 to follow.
Yeah. No, and that'll be part of our certification along with Bob too.
I have another question. Since this is going to be an emergency access gate only to prevent cut-through traffic or the people that live there, is there any reason to make it a gated community?
You can't gate a public street. So, and this is,
Good
and if
point.
it's
All right,
public,
yeah.
it was
You're
going
right.
to be required to be through traffic
You're
from our
right.
engineer.
Yeah,
Even if
yeah.
everybody wants to think the town, our engineering was
I'm with
going to
you.
require y'all, Labella, to
I'm with you.
force
Yeah,
it.
I'm with you. Okay.
And in conversation with the mayor, in addition to other council members, gating enhances the value of the homes in the community. It is something that we feel as though in this particular circumstances is a benefit.
I agree.
Yeah, and like you said before, and in the maintenance plan for the community, the gates would have to be included in that. And you probably have to cede some of that cost, going forward to the HOA. because it's a little bit more than what it would have been before, especially the roads are a lot more. I'm talking about just the gates and stuff like that and the mechanical part of it.
It's definitely an obligation we recognize we're taking on, and we fully understand. We don't have a gated community, Toll Brothers specifically, that I can point to in this region, but we have done many gated communities across the country, and we understand what we're taking on.
It's defined in the UDO, how you fund that, so.
Yep.
It's in there.
All right, so I wanted to go over a few things. Were we done with questions?
I mean, completely different question. Some of your elevations showed front load garages, and you said everything was going to be side load. Is that just because that's?
Yeah, if you flip back to some of those elevations, I can walk you through why you may think it looks front loaded. They're not. The garages are side loaded with what we would call a bolt-on garage that goes on the back of the home. So yes, from the front, you may be able to see it, but it is sitting much further back. When you elevate the home like this, the garage actually sits back about 20 feet. It just 18 feet roughly, because there's a garage in front of it.
So it's a courtyard.
This home is a side loaded courtyard plan that has 4 cars.
It doesn't look like that.
It
On that picture.
The 3 windows on the front were the garage.
Right. What you're not
Right.
seeing, and maybe from this side elevation where you see that garage door,
And then
that's the
rear window.
garage door you couldn't see. And then the other garage that sits back further is the one that could be interpreted as a front load. You can see it, but it is a side loaded concept with that courtyard. So yes, that garage looks like it's front loaded, but it sits much further back. And you can kind of tell if you go back one slide for me on that garage concept. Go back one more for me. One more. Oh, maybe we were going forward. Sorry. If you look on that, one back. There we go. On that, this is a 3-car garage. You can see the side load, but then that third bay that does face forward, but it is sitting back. And so when I say front load, typically I mean the front of the house is garage. What you would see, this is sitting further back. Does that help clarify? Okay.
All right. So I'm going to bring up from our past meeting, we had 8 conditions for the group to address to get to council before everything load. I want to just quickly run through these and see, does everybody, we agree that these all were completed, addressed, and rest assured that we're fighting fire with fire here. It was, first one was updated stormwater analysis and HydroCAD verification. I know they extensively worked with Bob Wilson at Labella and completed that, and Labella verified that. All impervious calcs, drainage area calcs, explained drainage area calcs. So that one checked, comes back great. The updated BUA summary this time also matched and was completed, and they verified that, Labella verified that all the tables match, pond sizes match, everything is depicted accurately. We had one where the confirmation from NCDOT on the stub roads, that no longer is an issue with private roads in Weddington. So I would say we checked that one. We did make a condition about the specification and details for gate connection to Bonner Drive, Knox locks. Knox lock or some type of way of even going private, addressed, they went private. The public school letter at that time, we made a condition. It has been addressed. They have been notified. School letter has been received. The next one was a revised and improved tree survey, including a tree save exhibit. This one may be a little bit up in the air as to did they meet it or did they not. Our updated tree ordinance is definitely significantly more detailed than prior standards. And to this point, and even we had a previous submittal, we saw maybe we need to relook at our language of some of that. I think we have an unintended consequence there, but this would be one I think we could deliberate on as to did they meet it? Is the intent here? Are we achieving that? The other condition was the NCDEQ approval and confirmation regarding the bypass water on the lower 2 lots. There was some emails going back and forth from Mike Lauer that basically had stated that it was they were not going to do a preliminary or cursory review, that the group had to submit a full submittal. But they did allude to a little bit in the email that under the post-construction program, high-density projects must treat the runoff from all proposed BUA via SCMs. It says, if there are areas where this seems improbable, you may need to demonstrate that those areas can meet all the requirements to be considered an area of low density. So to this point, the whole project's BUA table, they're touching like 12% of the total property. That is absolutely what Weddington's been after, I feel like, from our planning. They're keeping over an acre lot. So by default, low density. But Bob had told me, and I'd let their engineer confirm this, that the bypass of the two lots, Bob Wilson required you to upsize the pond and over-design the pond in that drainage basin. Is that correct? Over-detain. And then those two lots will not run into the water system, but they will be platted with BUA restrictions. And in the same email, he says all lots have a BUA restriction. That is true, but their pond has sized, and Bob verified that if they wanted to concrete all your lots, your BUA systems are over-designed to hold it all. So the only lots that on a plat will come up imperviously restricted will be the two that are low density, and they will always have to stay low density. They will not be able to go over that threshold, or it will put the neighborhood in default. So to that DEQ letter and recognition from DEQ, even though they wouldn't give the formal, they did by default tell us that a mixture of low density, high density. And when this was going up, she's stormwater PE. I ran it by her. She kind of supported that we could use a mix as long as you stick to the mix. And I think they've done that. The last one.
So does the restriction would be reflected on the deed for those two lots?
Not a deed. It will be on the record plat.
Okay,
So it'll be seen when somebody goes to pull a permit at Weddington, they look at the
All right.
record plat. Oh, they have 2,000 BUA. They use 2,500. Nope, we can't do this.
Yeah,
So, and then when people go to sell, they'll get a final survey. If that survey shows over, then some of these lenders want zoning verification letters. It will
Yeah.
present itself to be a problem if that goes to be the case. The last one was a perimeter and entrance landscape plan for buffers and roadway screening. I believe they addressed that in this packet, and I actually think you did better with the slideshow with your highlighted color. If that could be slip sheeted into the next packet.
you're talking about the green on the.
Yes, where she
Yeah.
said they were going to plant, and then she showed the
Yeah,
existing
when it's black and
leaving.
white, you really got to look through. Then I saw
Yeah.
your notes about.
Well, the plans note your landscaping
Yeah,
to the ordinance, but the visual is something
I agree.
that next slide. That visual, I think, will go a long way to add into our council packet, just so they can see where we got existing, where you're going to go the extra mile plant and add more than just the note saying, hey, we're planning per the UDO of this section at whatever the spacing. So with that said, on the conditions, does everybody feel comfortable they met everything? And if anybody wanted to add on to the tree survey part and tree save exhibit.
The only thing I would say about the tree survey, and we discussed it before the meeting. I'm not the author of the tree ordinance, but I was probably major input to it. And I think strengthen that thing up because there's some pretty severe clear cutting here. And now that we've had it there for I think we need to make some adjustments to it. As an example, I don't see a need to do it, say it's a conservation subdivision. I don't see a need to do a survey in any of that undisturbed land.
I agree, but our language actually reads.
I know it does. So that's what I'm saying. I'm comfortable with the focus on the heritage trees and
And this
So the
one's a unique
lateral-
case because it is a farm. I mean, it is farmland, so
Yeah.
we're
to
not
the
talking.
letter of the
normal.
law, it doesn't meet it, but I think the law is pretty darn strict and we need to make some adjustments to that.
Yes, I agree. So outside of these conditions, does anybody else see anything that we need to bring up, discuss as potential issues, how we need to,
I have a couple things.
go,
Um,
blessed be the name.
the pond on the left side of the development, coming from Town Hall, left side. Is that gonna be screened from the road?
The BMP on the small side,
Oh, okay.
your SCM.
Looks like it is from the.
Is that SB1?
I know you're gonna have the 100-foot buffer, right? But the pond there's a road to the pond and then the pond, right, for maintenance. You plan on any screening to screen that pond from the road?
We can commit to screening, and now from a landscaping, we would likely very much keep it consistent with what the greenery look like.
Well,
And
you
screen
might
where
be
we-
able to do it in the 100-foot buffer. I mean, it's pretty close to.
Trying to think here. Robert, do you see any reason why we wouldn't be able to screen there?
I know, we've done that at other sites as well, so that's a typical protocol for us. So I don't see that being a problem. I think, are we talking about from the interior portion of the community?
No, from the road.
From the road? I don't see.
It looks
No,
like
because
it's
everything-
five,
Yeah.
it looks like it's 5 or 8 feet above the road. If I'm looking at the topography right.
Well, they got to dig a hole.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
know, I'm
Yeah.
just
going to be
saying,
less
from the,
under.
from the edge there, it looks like it's 725, while the road is like 720.
Yeah,
or
so
something.
I think from a road perspective,
30 directly in front of it.
yeah, I don't think the elevation is going to be the problem. Everything around the perimeter of the development has some type of buffer. And so I think from a screening standpoint, we definitely fulfill some type of screening. So again, I think we definitely can. We'll revisit that just to make sure topography doesn't become
You
a,
wouldn't need it from, the other two sides because, there's nothing there.
No,
Yeah,
it
and-
almost seems like just an enhanced view shed buffer.
Correct.
planting right in
and be
there.
mindful. So one of the things we're just very cognizant that with our homeowners as well. And so even if it's just not so much from a perspective of something that is being requested from the town, it's something that we like to go above and beyond and do for our homeowners as well. So yes, I think we could figure out screening, something that we can assess relative to topography and location.
And the other thing I had is on the right side of the community, on the big side, you got utilities already in the buffer. You got 4 poles, I think, there with some distribution wires on there. I would love for you to take those down, but Union Power really doesn't want those to come down, okay? Because I've talked to them about them. But anything new, feet across the street, it's got to be underground. Nothing above ground. That's what our UDO says. Anything new, it's got to be underground. Union Power will try their hardest to put it above ground because they don't want to get a encroachment agreement with the DOT. They just want to put a pole on the other side. And we've seen this in the past. Luna is a good example. Put a 3-phase pole with a pot right in your entrance over there at Luna, which, may not be there forever. Who knows, So just make sure that when you talk to them, which I assume that you do, you make sure everything goes underground. We can't do anything on that one side, we just can't make you do it. You're protected by that from Raleigh. But anything else has got to be underground.
Yeah. So normally we always work with the power company to design the infrastructure. Everything that we typically design is always going to be underground. It's always in our best interest, again, from aesthetics and for kind of the final outcome of what we want to put forward from a design standpoint. It always takes that into consideration of who our end user is. So, yes.
Well, I'm just going from past experience.
Sure.
At Luna. You got to agree with me. That pole don't look good where it's sitting.
Yeah, and I would have to agree. And there's been a lot of conversations. So one of the things that we do is that from a due diligence standpoint, we enter those conversations from the inception. Unfortunately, that was one pole that just could not be moved. But everything else that we had the opportunity to get them to amend, that's always a conversation that we have in the forefront to try to go ahead and alleviate poles, because we're not excited about having poles in front of our community or within our community either.
All right, thank you. Ladies, Scott, anything? All right, so moving through here, I do want to say that we acknowledge that Chad did send some emails, but I believe we have, feel like we have addressed his concerns with those and with the streets going private. So, does anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion that we approve this to send to council for council approval.
Get a second?
Second.
All right.
I just have a question. Is everything in this new one that we're talking about here?
I got it. I will at least say that I went through my highlighted portions and there is the Army Corps of Engineer was not needed. It was conventional, that wasn't, and then this whole bottom part. So
All the enhancements, all the additionals that we talked about tonight is all.
I feel confident that I would stick my neck out to say that this is a
Yeah.
Okay.
complete and we're what we're after. So now that we have a second, do we all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Easy enough. Again, I want to thank Toll for their diligence with dealing with us, the neighbors, and the timing. So I know, but you stuck it through. I think this is working out for everybody. So very grateful. Thank you guys and gals. All right, now we'll move on. We have no new business. So moving to the next one is we will get an update from May Town Council meeting. If you
A
want to
lot
delay.
of administrative work went on. There wasn't really anything that went before them that you all had sent. So it was a quiet month, so to speak. They worked on the planner job description. There's a subcommittee they had a special meeting, approved the planner job description. That went out last week. Gotten 2 resumes back already. So it's moving along.
Very good. All right, we'll go to board member comments. Start there with you, Bill.
I'll reiterate what I've said in the past. I thought you guys did a good job. Hopefully I won't get beat up over it this time. I appreciate all your work. I'm hoping the council, the planning board will get to a point where we can get this process flowing a little bit faster. And I'm an optimist. We're getting there. We're getting closer and closer. Appreciate all the work staff does. Can't end the meeting without that, because people don't realize how much work they do. And I would just like to recommend at some point in time, either the planning board has a work session to address, for instance, the tree ordinance and a couple other things I think we can knock out pretty quickly, or maybe we have a subcommittee address it. That's all I got.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo, appreciate, like I said before, I appreciate Toll working with the community over there. I think it's probably the best outcome we can get. So appreciate that. And staff girls, appreciate you. I know it's been difficult, but I mean, I appreciate the hard work you put in. And I'd just like to say the same thing about the board. I mean, I think you guys, you put a lot of work into it, and I appreciate it as a person that lives in the town and as well as a member of the planning board. So thank you.
Again, echo the appreciation for Toll Brothers. You've worked with us for over a year now to an awkward transition that we've had in redoing the UDO and updating it. Appreciate your working with us. Thank you, everybody on staff. Karen, we're going to miss you.
Ms. Taylor.
So echoing the same thing, thank you for, really getting through this, addressing all of our concerns. And the folks that came here today for public comment, thank you for participating and working with Toll and sharing your concerns with us. It really helps us to do a better job and, address the issues that you've brought up in the UDO. Thank you.
Same thing. Everyone else is saying thank you guys for working so hard on this. I think that it'll be a very nice neighborhood for our town. Staff, always thank you. You guys do so much that is so unthanked, and we see it. And thank you for all you do.
Everybody's already said it. I appreciate our residents coming out and being a part of this process. It's always very helpful to hear your concerns. Staff, you guys do a bang-up job. Thank you for everything that you do. I'm very happy to be a part of this board. I think we are doing a lot of good things. I think we have some great board members. And I appreciate the work that everyone puts in. And Toll Brothers, thank you for your presentation and your hard work and your due diligence and the fact that you are willing to understand the town of Weddington and work to become a part of the town of Weddington.
Yes, I echo everybody, but I really want to give a big thank you to Karen. I wish you the best. I know that this is going to probably be our last meeting, so very sad, but congratulations on new endeavors. We might watch it just burn down. We don't know. So, but thank you for all you've done. You've been here through all the ebbs and flows, through this, that, and the other, and we are where we are because of you. So thank you. And to residents. With that, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Adjourn.